Are you feeling like your solos are a little robotic and boring and sort of blocky? You're just running up and down the scale? I want to go over something that is often overlooked about how to bring more life and musical dimension into your guitar solos. Right, this one is definitely overlooked. So if you don't know, my name is Ryan Gaughan. I've been helping guitar players for over 20 years bridge the gap between their creative ideas and what they're able to play and get past that really robotic, boring pentatonic plateau that we all get stuck into. If you could, please hit the like and subscribe notification and the bell notification down there to get more videos on how to make your guitar playing better. All right, when we're talking about phrasing and actually telling a story with our guitar solos, we get a lot into no choice, building some tension, right, getting some resolve, etc. One thing that we get very locked into, and it's not talked about all that much in sort of like the general quick video Instagram and TikTok stuff that's out there, is where we're starting and ending our phrases. So you can have, when you start building, a great vocabulary for phrasing, great rhythmic phrasing, and then still there's like this lasting element where everything starts on beat 1 and ends on beat 4, right? Whether it's just one measure phrases and then either a rest, two measure phrases, whatever it is, we're like locked very much into it. And the very start of this is going to be breaking out of needing to start on beat 1. It's going to be a great exercise. So if you find yourself doing that, this is the first part of the video. If I can just show you, I'm just going to be in my A minor pentatonic. To be honest, no choice doesn't really matter here. And my first exercise is just, can I avoid beat 1? 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm starting on beat 2. Okay, and that's a great way to navigate that first exercise. It's just, as you're counting, as you're feeling that, just start right in on beat 2. It's going to be pretty easy, and generally still ending on beat 4. It's going to still give you that one measure phrase. Now, of course, that's going to get tiring, but that's the point. The point is we're developing a comfortability with not having to start on beat 1, right? The strongest. It's the same thing with, if you're playing your pentatonic. If I have A, I seem to end on my root note every time because that's a comfortable, safe place to go. And I can hear that, right? I hear that comfortability. Same with beat 1. It's the strongest beat of the measure. So we're going to want to start at the start of the measure, right? So now, as you're getting a little bit more used to this, we can move along, and instead of starting like right on beat 2, we can start close to beat 2. So that'd be the and of 1, or even the end of 2, which is pushing it a little further. Now this is swung, so this isn't going to be 1 and 2 and 3. It's going to be 1 and 2, right? So I'm starting purposefully on the and of 1 now, which is that swung 8th note just before beat 2. So not directly on beat 2, okay? So here we go with those examples, the next phase of this, right? 3, 1, 1 and 2. 1. Okay, give that a shot. Okay. One thing that I do want to mention is this is a relatively slow blues that I'm doing, which is great, especially for you guys to hear it and to be able to practice with this. Push that tempo up a little bit, as you get really comfortable with this. Now, okay, we're breaking out of beat 1. We're not needing the crutch of going to beat 2. We can start in between. What's really cool is when you get used to this, you can start messing with how close to beat 1 and how close to beat 2 you're getting, especially if something that was like a little bit more straight. But it could just not be beat 1, not be beat 2. It can be a 16th note. 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2. and so on. Now I can get that and of 2. Now 1, 2. 1, 2. That sits kind of comfortably in between. Now I want to get closer to beat 3. 1. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. All right, it's going to create a lot more of that urgency. Now, from here, we only have further to go, is going to be starting on beat 3. This is going to get a little too tiring if we don't cross the bar line, right? Example, really quickly. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 1, 2. Right? Just playing half of each measure is going to get really tiring. So now, what we could do, let's start looking at the end of our phrases. So if we're looking at, starting in between, anywhere in between beats 1 and 2, and we're going to 4, okay. If we're doing anywhere beats 2 to 3, all right, now we're starting to get a little short, but we're going to 4. Now, what we're going to need to do is simply start playing over the bar line, okay? So now, how to handle this is go to beat 3 and play over the bar line, which means you're not going to do it on every measure. You're going to do it on every other measure. You're going to start on beat 3 every other measure. It'll sound like this. 3, 4, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2. 1, 2. You get the picture. So I'm not playing beat 3 and then obviously ending beat 4. That's just too much. Now I can choose. Do I want to play beat 3 and play all the way to the next measure, beat 4? Do I want to play beat 3 and play all the way to that whole half measure, the next measure whole, and then end on beat 1? Sure. But I'm now going to start thinking of like, okay, the end. Does the end have to be on beat 4, which sounds very final? You know, if I'm ending a phrase on beat 4, it's very like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to wrap up. Also, that same idea happens if I decide to take it all the way to beat 1. It sounds like, okay, that ending almost of that phrase is like the beginning of the new bar. You know what I mean? And that's why it sort of carries over. The last note of a phrase very much can fall on beat 1 because that's the strongest beat. It doesn't need to be the start. It can also kind of show a bookend wrap up. So maybe I want to start on beat 3 and then mix up where I'm ending, okay? Very, very easy. And now what you're going to do is you're going to start varying up where you're ending, and it doesn't have to be on beat 4 or beat 1 or beat 2. It can be in between. You have that choice, all right? And that's now what's going to make this really interesting. 1, 2, 3. You get to decide, and just aiming for in between, wherever it is, in between 3 and 4, in between 4 and the following 1, playing over the bar line. Now, this is what is playing over the bar line. You're not playing just even a short phrase for 3 and 4 and then continuing to another phrase. You're playing a phrase that goes over that bar line, and you're choosing where you want to start and where you want to end. Now, how to really use this. We have all of these ideas of where to start, right? And how to get comfortable starting wherever it is that we'd like to. Now we can take that to the ending, just like this. choosing where we want to end and how long we want these phrases to be. If you're doing it as an exercise, this trains us away from needing to start and end where generally we just are drawn to, okay? What becomes our natural voice is the fact that we're not locked into starting, right? And sort of speaking from a very like robotic way, and we're not ending. We're choosing by the way that we want to express ourselves, how we want to start and how we want to end our phrases, where we want them to end. Did I get everything out of that phrase that I wanted to or not? Now that, as you're doing these exercises, that's going to start sinking into your vocabulary, and those are choices that you're going to make as you're playing along. Of course, in the creative choices, like maybe there will come a time where you play like a 6-bar phrase, has a couple of repeats in there, but it doesn't actually end in breathe. That might happen. That will happen. Hopefully, that you're not so locked in. This goes back to the idea of, as long as you're always considering what you just said, you'll never get lost in what you're saying. Okay, so we just want to constantly remember, acknowledge, and consider what we just played, just like a conversation, what we just said, and we won't get lost. It's once we don't really remember, or if we do remember, we're not considering what we just said, that we start getting lost in a conversation. Now, if you're an intermediate guitar player and you feel sort of stuck in that really boring, robotic pentatonic plateau that we all get stuck into, you really want to bridge the gap between your creative ideas and what you're able to play, becoming fully fretboard fluent. You can comment pro below or go to the description. I have a free training, 3 steps to full fretboard fluency. Goes over why we get caught in those plateaus, how to break them so you don't get stuck in the next plateau and in the next plateau, and 3 ways to start, or I guess 3 tricks to really start putting into your guitar playing now to make them better. There's also a link in the description. If you feel ready for our fretboard fluency mentorship program, you can book a free call to see if it truly is the right fit for you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.